Hello. Just confirm that you can hear me, because I see that people are texting that they can hear someone here, but I cannot hear anything. So please confirm that you can hear me.
I can hear you.
All right, all right, no problem. So I think we can now start. Um, all right, we're going to start over from where we left on last big session. So actually, let me just get to the code. Don't know why I didn't open it earlier, but uh, all right. So from last session, we were discussing dependency injection. So um, I'm just going to introduce what we're trying to do. Then we're going to go over the concept of dependency injection, and then we're going to like react this code. Okay. So for those that were not here, um, we had these two files here. These are the ones that I'm going to use for this example. And also notice that from the last session, we were using JavaScript, but this one you see that now it's TypeScript. So it's the same thing. JavaScript and TypeScript are the same thing, just like TypeScript has some added features. So I'm going to add in the README file here on how to set up a TypeScript project, and then you can, if you want to set it up on your on your own. Um, but if you're going to clone this, um, then you can just continue as is. It's really easy. And yeah, straightforward. So we had two files here. Sorry, service and controller, right? So let me explain the concept. So from how we've been creating our servers up to this point, we've been um, we've been creating that in a way that, let's say you have your route here, right? You have your route. Okay, you have your route, you have your logic, right? And you also sending the data, right? This is the way that we have been creating our routes. Okay, this is the way that we have been creating our routes. Okay, but in like a real world application, you're not going to be creating this, because you're not going to be creating it like that. Because say the way that we are creating the routes, right? Um, just for just for reference, this is how we've been creating the routes. So in a real world application, you cannot do all this in here, right? You can, maybe there will be like some, you want to validate some data, you want to check something in the database, and you want to do a couple logic that maybe might be 100 lines of code, so you cannot do all that in here. So there's a pattern that we call separation of concerns. You don't have to know what it is, but basically what it says is that um, we're going to have two things, right? Those things are called a controller and a service. Okay. So what a controller is, a controller, the main function of the controller, if we want to separate, if we want to break this down, right? A controller handles routing, right? So our controller will be handling the routing part of our API, and that routing also is like returning the data. So sending is also like the routing is like the routing part, yeah. Because yeah, let me just put that. Um, the third part of the routing as yeah, the third part of the routing, right? So we have to separate this from the route. So the logic goes into the service. Okay, so this is in a nutshell, you can just say keep related things related, right? On. So this is how we do that separation of concerns. That this is like the main or the basic idea of it, right? So that's what uh, dependency uh, injection comes into play. Basically, you can say that the service is a dependency and the controller is a dependency. You want to, because of course you're spreading the route, but then this route still needs access to the logic. Okay, so um, right. So basically, what dependency injection is in this case, you are trying to inject this into this. All right. So I think you will understand this with an example. Okay. So the example that we had for dependency injection, you're going to find this file on the controller.ts. Right. Let's just and we're going to and we have a service.ts as well. Okay. Um, basic in our dependency injection thing here, what we do, let's say we create a class. Okay. Um, and we say greetings controller, right? And in our service, and it's going, so you're going to create a class and we're going to export it, right? So those that are using JavaScript, you're doing something like module.export. I think you're doing this, but in TypeScript, or if you're using a module type of JavaScript, not CommonJS, I think you're using CommonJS, but for if you research and use modules, you're going to also export like this. So what you're going to, then I'm going to say greetings service, right? So in hello, put a name here. I'm going to say how, okay, yeah, like this. And so then we go to our controller. So basically, we want to we want to handle the logic that we have in our service, but we want to handle it here in our controller. The service, so we have to inject this service in here. So to do that, we're going to say private um, greetings service. This can be whatever you want. It just has to have a small smaller letter, if you're going to name it the same thing as this, because here, then you say this, right? I think this should be in TypeScript because this is like assigning a type to this. So please do follow the configuration on how to do this with TypeScript for if you want it to be easy. If you're going to be using JavaScript, then I think you can do a bit of a research on how you can do this best. Okay. So we're going to say constructor, and we're going to say this dot greetings service is equal to greetings service, like new greeting service, like this. So you see that this greeting service has been imported from our greeting service file because we have an export here. So it has been imported, right? And here we are initializing that greeting service in this class so that we can use it in this class. Okay. So here we're going to say handle, say hello, right? And now what we want to do, we're just going to console log, or let's say that let's just have the greeting here. I can get the greeting from our service. So here we're going to say this, right? This, and you're going to see we have greeting service here. When you say greeting service, when you click dot again, you're going to see say hello, which is a function that is not in this file or that is not in this class. It is in the service class. Okay, say hello is in here. So that means we have injected whatever we have here into our greetings controller in here. Okay, so we're going to say hello, and let's give it a name. Let's say Jonas. Right. So we're going to test this out. So let me just say constant greeting controller is equal to new greetings controller, and let's say okay, here we're supposed to console log the greeting plug here. So say greetings greeting controller, this one that we have here, and we say handle, say hello. If we call this function here, right? Bring the CRC folder. CRC folder. Okay, so let's say controller. Supposed to be service like that, service.ts. Okay, not just service. Okay, now you see we have that hello Jonas, how are you? So basically what we have is that we have called this function, right? But in it, but that function has called another function that handles what this function needs, right? So we have separated from calling this function and handling what this function is going to handle, which is in the service. Okay, so basically that's what dependency injection is. We want to use this function, right? But we cannot have all that logic, all that implementation in this function. So we're going to have the function in here and use this design pattern of dependency injection. You can really do it many ways, but this is like I would say arguably the best one out of the bunch that you can do. Right. So now I can take the questions because we have a lot that we have to implement this in our API. So please ask the questions right right now. If you do not understand, if I repeat something, now is the time open to you. Or anyone? Reshma, last time you said it was a bit confusing. Are you comfortable now?
Yeah, I am following right now.
Oh wait, if you say something, I didn't hear you.
What?
Can you say
Did you?
that again?
I said I am following now.
Oh, now. Okay. And anyone else with this? All right, we are proceeding. So speak now or forever hold your peace. So we're continuing. Yeah, this is basically what we're going to be using for API in this class. There are many ways that you can do this, but this is the one that I find it best. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, so we use a different way of running our server. So I'm going to delete what we had from the previous class so that we can start together on this one. Okay, so um, okay, so uh, we all know that we are using Express, right? We are using Express. But Express, we're still going to be using Express, right? But Express with what we're trying to do right here is a bit limited. So there's another package that is on top of Express. So we're going to be using these two hand in hand. And the other version of Express that we're going to be using in here is called Leaflet Express. Okay. So to install, okay. Pauline says we should summarize it. Okay. Um, what we were doing, right? And yes, the point that in essence has raised. If you have a question, please unmute yourself and interrupt me because I might not see the message, right? So, yeah. What we were explaining is about dependency injection, that separation of concerns. We want to separate the logic or what we have here we want to separate the routing and the logic so that we should make our code cleaner, easier to understand, and it should with a good developer experience. So I'm going to explain this as we implement. So I think you can get it from there, so that we should move a little bit fast. But I'm going to like re-explain the concept. Okay, so um, to use this pattern that we are developing right now, uh, we're going to use Express and Leaflet Express. So you can install them just npm when you install Express, and you can also say Leaflet Express. Okay. But please do follow as well the package.json, because we do have Express 4 and these versions are compatible. Um, yeah, these versions are compatible. So if you're going to install this and then you find that there's some issues, maybe Express has updated or and Leaflet hasn't updated yet, so they're not compatible with the latest versions. So if you are going to have those troubles, please use the versions that are in this file. Okay. So yeah, let's create our Express server. Uh, the way we are creating this is the what? Okay, the way that you know that we are creating an Express server. So we use Express and we leave Express to our app variable here, and then we also uh, we assign the port and we do app listen on that port. Okay, like this. Um, this is how we are running our Express server. So as I said, that we do have Express and we have Leaflet. So Express is going to handle the main server, while Leaflet we're going to use that to register our routes, and it's going to handle some of the things there. Okay, so okay, so okay, so yeah, let's continue. So now, okay, let me put the comment here. We are uh, referencing the express, right? Referencing the spellings. We're referencing express. So now, what we need to do, we need to now register, right? We need to register our app, register our routes with Leaflet Express, right? So what we do this, here we have a folder called routes, right? And we have an index.ts file. So this is the one that we're going to register our routes in, okay? So to do this, we're going to import, we're going to import from Leaflet Express, right? And we're going to export um, we're going to export a function, right? And we're going to call this register routes. Uh, register routes. like this. And here, this one is going to require our express app, right? So if we're on the same page and we're using TypeScript, so do this from Express. Take the Express here and just say that this app that we want to enter here is an Express thing, it's an Express object, something like that. And from Leaflet, you have to take register in it, okay? And also, okay, you have to take register, and there's also something called registration. You don't have to do that, but just for a good developer experience, yeah, that is the registration. But you do have to uh, refer to the register here. So to register our apps, all we do is we're going to have a list, right? And this is the routes, right? And what we do then is we say register, which is that function that we have imported, and if you hover on it, you see that it needs uh, app, which is like Express, which is this one that we're importing from here, and it needs routers, which is the registration list that we have here, right? So you say app here, and you say routes. Okay. Oh no, it's registration list like that. So here you say routes. Okay. So if you do it like this, it's going to register the routes that you're going to have in here. So now in our server TS file where we're creating that route, we're going to say register routes like that. And if you remember very well, it requires an app, which is this app here. Okay, so you just pass in that app. So we're going to register the routes in here. So now let's create an example route. Okay, so and also do take note of the folder structure. If you're going to be using Express, you really need to be careful with how you structure your things, or it's going to get messy. Okay, so if you like this folder structure, please do follow it and stick to it. All right. So in our routes, we're going to have users. So everything about the user's route is going to be handled in here, right? So we have users. Okay, and if you've been following, we have a controller and a service. So we say users controller .ts and users users service .ts, right? These are the two files that we have, right? So let's start with let's create the export users uh, and is Pauline here saying what she was asking. So, should watch the recording. Okay. Here then we're going to export this controller as well. Users uh, controller like this. Okay. So this our controller. We're going to be using we're going to be using this to handle our routes. Okay. And we're going to be using the service to handle the service. So this in it or the in it how am I saying? this on its own, it's not going to work, right? So if so, what we do, right, is you say users controller. Right? So every let's say you have another one that is, let's say, authentication, right? Let's say auth, and you have auth.controller.ts, right? And you export uh, the class, you export the class auth controller like that. What you're going to do, you're going to register all those in here, right? So all your controllers are going to, you're going to put them in here. But because we're using, and this, like this, they're not going to work because there's still other things that we have to do. So for the users control, let's remove this. For the users controller, what you need to do is router from leaflet. Okay, don't import from Express itself. It's not going to work. So we import from leaflet. So to mark this that it is a route, you have to say router like this. So here is the main or the base, or you can say the main or the base route, right? So for this one, our base is the users, right? So for my TypeScript people as well, if to use this, make sure you have experimental decorators and this in here. So just copy this file and have it in your TS config. Okay, this is the TS config file. So if this tells TypeScript how to behave, right? So do copy this. This is like, yeah, this is uh, this is the one that I use. So this works like almost every time I should say. And also, please do install leaflet metadata. So that is npm install uh, leaflet metadata like that. Metadata, right? Because to use this decorators, it's still, I think it's still new in TypeScript. So there's that extra configuration, and also in your main entry point file, which is the server.ts, you have to import uh, reflect metadata like that. So if you just do this, then the code is going to work, right? Okay, let's continue. So to this, well, this is marking this controller as a route. So this is the user's route. Okay. So let's now inject as we did before, private users service, users service constructor. This dot user service is equal to new user service like that. Okay. This is our route, but then now we have to create our endpoints. Okay. So let's say get users. This is going to be our endpoint, right? So we're going to have let's do request and response the way we've been having them, and get users like that. It's an asynchronous function. So we're going to now create it like this. Okay. So like this as well, it's not going to work because what we I think if you follow the class properly, we said we do our routes need to have an HTTP method and all that. So to define an HTTP method for this function, that okay, this function is going to handle this endpoint, we have to say at get. Okay, so you can have post, you can have delete here. So this one is going to be a get route, and we're going to say get users, I guess. Okay. So notice that it's also importing from Leaflet Express, right? So meaning to say that this route here, if you want this route, it's going to be users get get users, I guess, if we have it like this. So it's taking this and this. Okay. So in our user service, let's say handle get users, right? Like this. Get users, and let's just return that users list that we have. Okay, so let's import users like that. So we're just going to return that list. We're going to return that list. Okay. Now our controller here, we're going to say now we want to then handle to pass on to our service to handle the logic, right? So in this case, it is getting the users, doing whatever it has to do, and then it's returning the users, right? So we're going to say, sorry, constant result like this is equal to this dot user service handle get users, right? So then we're going to say return less request here and response here. This also they're being imported from the leaflet. So we're going to say status. This is status 200 and send. We're going to send the result. Okay. And here you're going to handle if something happens. Okay. So we're going to return this status 500. Let's say our server had some certain problem handling this. So status 500 and send message internal server error like this. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now we have our internal server error here. So this should work. This will work. So let's also we have a package.json here. I'm pretty sure that you've done your research, but then we have scripts. So instead of me writing this every time, I have a script base, and this is the command. So what we do is just say npm. Let me see this. Okay, what you do is say npm run dev. So it's going this command here. Okay. So if I say npm run dev, of course, I don't know why, but today it's importing things wrong. Where it's supposed to be route, not just what's going on. So make sure that it's importing like this because the way that it's been importing is wrong. Okay, so now it should work. What else has been imported wrong? Data.jesus. In our users says this. It's supposed to import like this, not the way it did. Supposed to be like that. What else? Okay. Now our code is running. Yeah. So if we use Postman, or if we go to a browser, let's just go to a browser for it to be fast. Let's say localhost, we're using for 3,100 users, and get users like this. You see our list of users. So meaning to say that we have successfully implemented our get users and endpoint. So this is where we dropped off from uh, from last week's class. So let me just uh, let's just add one more thing here, right? So add two things. Um, so let's say uh, get user. We're going to have an endpoint get user, and we want to get one user. So I think let's get using um, email. Yeah, let's get using email. Okay, so we want to get user by email, right? So you have your name here like this. Query parameters, check them out. Okay, so let's try. Let's have. Sorry, this is get user. I said email, not mail, right? Like that. So get user by email. Okay. So it takes the request and the response. So that is red and red like that. Let's try it and touch it. Return red status 500 if something fails, and send message internal server error like this. Yeah. What's happening?
I think almost everyone has been kicked out, maybe because of the network. I don't know. But your screen is no longer showing.
I cannot see. Okay, let me share it. You can see it still.
No, I can't see the screen.
How about now? Still nothing. Can you say it now?
Yeah, now I can see it.
Okay. So, okay, we're trying to get the user by email now. Okay, so let's do this. We're going in our service, right? We're going to say get handle get user by email like this, right? So we're going to say give us the email like that. So from a list of users, right? We want that one user, or it's a list of users with that have that email. So list, and we say user filter, right? And e dot email is equal to the email that we're going to okay. So yeah, we're going to filter by the email that is passed in here, right? So then let's return that users, right? It's now we're going to now this is going to return the users with this email. So you can pretend that for this example, you can say that this is your fetching in the database and all that and all that and all that. So it's returning the users with that email. Okay. So now in our controller here, we're going to say constant result is equal to this dot user service and what get user by email. But now it needs the email. Where is it going to get the email from? It's going to get from our query parameters here. So how we do that? We say constant. We say constant email. Okay. Constant email is equal to request, because this is part of the request. Okay. So request query email like that. So this is going to get from this email. Okay, but if it was something like this that we're going to be passing it like this, right? Then you're supposed to say param, okay, because that is a parameter. So for what we are params, I think, yeah, params. But in this example, we're using the query. Okay. So email like that. So now that we have that email, we're now going to say email like that. It is supposed to be a string, but this can be of many types. So we have to make sure that it's a string. So we say string here. Okay. So let's return. Let's return the response. Status 200 sent and data is equal to result like that. So let's stop our server and run it again. Now, if we say get user, we add email is equal to, let's take email, this one here, should work. did I say something wrong? Get user. What do you mean cannot find that? Let's try this. Interesting. How do we start it? Why can't you find this one? I'm pretty sure I'm spelling everything correctly. What changed? Where does work, but what changed? Alright, so do define your parameter. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. You can have your parameters. Pretty sure this should work as well. Okay. I think I can say that this is a leaflet thing. Leaflet, I think you have to define the query parameters, but then if you have them, they're waiting. But then if you don't explicitly add them there, they do not work. I think I do remember this issue sometimes, but then yeah, use it like this. The get user, you can append the email like that. It's going to work, but do not explicitly define this. But in actual express, so if let's say if we have it in like express, uh, let's say what trial, and we say email like this, request yes, going to return, I'm going to send, and we're going to send is it will be request dot query. Let's see next in Extra Express. Okay. Cannot get trial as well. Oh, okay. So I guess I've learned something new. You're not supposed to explicitly define the parameters. So if you leave it out, I think, and just know, Goody, you're supposed to have the query parameter. Yeah, add it there. But there's also another way of doing it, which is most likely the way that you're going to be doing it. right? If you're using parameters, then you have to define them. So let's say email here, right? Let's stop the server and run it again. So you say, what that semicolon, is it semicolon? Is it a colon? A colon, I think. And you say terms like this, okay? And you don't have to define, you don't have to add this. If you just put it like this, users, user, yeah. Oh no, not my dad. What have you done? Get user like that. Okay, so this is using params. So I think stick to this one, but then government is also going to be important if you're doing search. So I think you don't have to explicitly define the query parameters. I do not know why. I would definitely have to check up on that. But for the params, you can have it like that. So for the last example of tonight, let's do something like a post request. Yeah. So add user. I'm going to have a request, a response, and am I doing this right? No, I'm not. I think I'm just tired. What is I was doing here? Let's copy our failure here. And it fails. Let's copy this. I'm going to have it here. And let's have in our service handle. And add user. And okay. Our user needs email, name, email, and password. Okay. So we're going to say we want email, I want the name, which is string. We want email, which is string, and we want password, which is string. And yeah, we can then say user okay, user push, and let's push the name, email, and password. Okay, so this is shorthand. So if the field and the value is the same thing, so it's going to create. So this is going to create a name like that. But shorthand is this, right? So then we're going to just return the entire list of user like that after we add that user. So here to get the body, it is going to be constant body is equal to request dot body like that. So let's get our result from our service. And result is equal to this dot add user, sorry, this dot user service dot handle add user, and it requires the body, it requires the email, the name, and the password. So name body dot email and body dot password. Okay, so now we're going to return status. Any volunteer from the chat, what status should this be? Anyone? Anyone? No. Maria, what status should it be here? You can all hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. What status should it be?
Any number to show that it just worked? I don't know.
Not quite. Sylvia.
Okay, as for me, internet is too bad, so the screen is off on. But yeah, I will revise whatever we are doing. I'm really getting the concept about the objects and yeah, injecting the object in another class and the likes. Komano, yeah, I'm getting little by little. I'm following. Only that the internet is too bad, so sometimes I'm not able to see the screen properly.
All right, no problem. Reshma, what status should we have here?
$200.
Why?
Because it will return a positive value.
Not quite. Pauline, what status should we have here?
I'm also having problems with my screen.
Okay, and I think we have the last one, Marianne. What status should we have here?
Positive?
I didn't get you.
Positive.
I think by that you also referred to 200, which is it's correct, but it's not right. So here we're using, I think you need to go back on this. Here we're using 200. Here we're also using 200. So I do believe that you think that here we should also use 200. 200 it means okay, but then this is a post request. We are creating data, and the status for that something has been created 201. So 201 returns good. It's a positive, but then it means that something has been created, right? So the status here is supposed to be 201. Yeah, let's continue. With send and the data, we're going to say data as well there. Okay, so let's stop our server and we run this. Now we're using Postman because it's a post request. Okay, HTTP localhost 4,100 users, add user, and the body should be there. If this works, then okay. But if it doesn't work, please have the answer why it's not going to work, because I'll also ask all of you. Name outside Denzel. The email is Denzel at washington.com and password everybody, please. Okay. So moment of truth. Let's see our response. We sent this. Oh, should be a post request. Let's send it. Internal server error. It didn't work. Anyone with suggestions? Why this did not work? This is the last example. So if we finish this, then I think now we can go and revise. So let's finish this one. Any volunteer?
Can you please come again?
Because it did not match the data we gave it.
Who is that one? Who said? I think Maria said that she'd come again, but there's someone else who said something. Is it Maria? Sorry. We have email name, email, password, and this is what we are also getting from the body. But why did it not work? So it's matching. The one who said that it's not matching. So any suggestions?
I think because the data we put there is not the data we put in the server. Now we have said that if the data is not matching, you should be giving that error, internal server error.
Okay. Our internal server error here simply means that what we're doing here didn't work. So we have to notify the client that okay, it's our fault. Something is wrong in the server. So this is what is coming here, right? But this is the data because I think we go to users, right? We have the name, email, password, which is what we are sending in our request, right? And also what in our service we are passing to our user list. But something is wrong. Please, another one. I think we have, where's the other one done? Okay, we have two people left. Maria and Maria. Okay, maybe I should make it easier. I should make it easier for you. So we're finished with the class, but then we have to troubleshoot this one. Okay, so let me run the server. And we should say send. This is what we're getting. That's why it's failing. Cannot list properties of undefined name.
Does that mean I have to define this?
And this is what my last one, Marian.
But can you come again?
Last one, today you said Sajay. You have the last. Your suggestion is the last one. Then I think I can tell you what's wrong, and then we can close because I think this is now 9. We have gone over. I think 1 hour 30 minutes. So I think we're now at the 1 hour 30 minutes mark. So we should go. All right, no problem. Let me not stress you that much. If you followed the previous classes, you you have to know that to pass a body in a post request, we have to use a middleware that is express.json, right? But we have created our server and we did not define that express.json to pass our body. So basically, and just say reading properties of undefined, we are trying to get the name in the body, but the body does not is undefined, right? So we cannot. So from this body, there's no name, there's no email, there's no password because it is not passing our what our body. So that is the reason we're not passing the body. So here if we say app.use and or let's do it in the server itself. If we just say uh, app.use express.json, right? Now it will pass our body and let's run the server. Now it should work properly. All right, so we now have a 201 created. And if we look at our response, what is the response? Yep. We're now getting the users back with Denzel now in the list. Okay, so that was the issue. We were not passing the body. Yeah. I think we should now be having interactive classes now. All right. Any questions for those of you that are left in here? So, okay. Please also do notice that we're not having the Denzel in here because uh, we are just having the Denzel the in the what? in the in the value that we're referencing, but not the actual file. So, yeah. Any questions for those of you that are left in here? You can unmute your mics if you have no question. Say that you have no question. If you have a question, you can also ask the question. Hello.
I got no question.
All right. So there are no questions. Do you want an assignment or you're good?
No. Assignment this one.
Okay.
No. No, like no. That one almost killed me. Please.
All right, no problem. Um, wait.
I have a question, I
I
think.
have a question, I think.
All right, do ask.
Okay, so whenever add new, it means we have to use the status 201 every time.
Whenever what?
Does that make sense? I don't know.
I'm asking when you said whenever you what you have to do something. So I didn't get the
Whenever
first part.
we're creating or adding status, so we have to use the status 201.
Okay, yeah, yeah, you have to. You don't need to, but you have to. And because it's the standard, but you can use 200. But basically, what the 201 means, you have added something, you have added a resource. So let's say you have created a post, then that is a 201 because you have actually created something, right? When you create a user, that is a 201, right? But if it's just like you're getting something, then that's a 200. Like, okay, fine, whatever you wanted was successful, but yeah. Yeah, so it's something like that. I hope that makes sense. That when something is created, that should be a 201.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem. So I think this I should do what I was doing. It didn't work. So, all right, no problem. So, right. Okay, the ones that are just joining us now, any questions because we are about to close. So, any questions, comments, or if you want assignments? That is.
I okay.
I can get
Hello?
what it is. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What is it?
Okay. Is it okay if I can like go through all this again? If you can please send us the links that you usually do for us to go through it, and I think with the recording too, it will help me. But I'm going to ask, and is it okay if we can like send you questions in DM for assistance in the process of doing this whole?
Yeah, no problem. Feel free. You can ask any question, and we'll be happy to respond. So yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. No
All right.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so and we have to here. If you have a question or you want an assignment, maybe you have understood everything, so you want to get your hands dirty. All right, I think Sylvia is not here, so or maybe she's on it.
Okay, I also have a question. Okay, it's not really a question. Kumano, I was trying to run my project in the browser. Kumano is refusing to connect. So I don't know what's the problem.
Um, did you uh, did you add the port here and the confirm that is the correct one?
Yes,
Was it a post request or a get request?
a post request.
Okay, yeah, a post request in a browser basically. Uh, all these are get requests. So if you're running a post request, it's not going to work. So that's why. And also, if you see here, this is a get request. Yeah, I'm using the browser. But for the post request, I'm not using the browser. I'm using Postman because browsers basically don't support post request for this thing. Make sense?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
use Postman. All right, so I think that will be all. I'll push the code. I'll push the code to GitHub, and I'll add some extra comments. Please read the README file. It's going to help you running the project and all that. So please do that. Yeah. All right. Thank you.